much, Claudia. And hello, Glens Falls. I'm really just blown away by this turnout, and I'm wondering if I'm in the right place. Excellent. Thank you so much. I want to offer a couple of acknowledgments right off the bat. The first is I want to thank Dan Gerard and Lawrence Street Tavern for having us here today. Thank you so much, everybody. I also want to acknowledge the presence of some key leaders within the party here. We have Lynn Bosher from Warren County, Maggie Bartley from Essex County, Jason Clark from St. Lawrence County. We've got Alan Stern from Washington County. We've got John representing Saratoga County. And I believe we've got even some reps from Clinton County here today. Thank you so much. And Rupert from Hamilton County. The other acknowledgments I want to make here are to thank some family that are here. My mother's here. My brother as well. An aunt and uncle. And so many close friends. And I'm just touched that you all could be here with us today. So earlier this year, I got a call from my niece Hannah. She's 7. My sister had been watching the news of the attack unfolding at the Capitol that afternoon, and she became visibly upset. Hannah asked her what was wrong, and my sister responded by telling her that some bad people were hurting good people in Washington, D.C. And without skipping a beat, my sweet little niece, filled with concern, and asked, is Uncle Matt one of the good people getting hurt? So I got an impromptu call from Hannah to reassure her that I was fine. But we talked about how violence was never the right answer to address our differences. Good people did get hurt that day. Some died, including police officers. What happened on January 6th is not okay. And our kids were watching. Our kids are still watching. They're watching to see how we protect them, not just from violent extremism and crime in our communities, but protect them from the uncertainty of whether mom and dad are going to have a steady job to provide for their family. Protect them from a virus that has kept them out of school and taken the lives of people in their community, maybe even their family. Protect them from the insecurity of not knowing whether their family and their grandparents can access health care when they need it and afford that care when the bill comes due. Protect them from climate change and the existential threat it poses to their future. Our kids are anxious to know whether we are going to protect for them a future full of potential and opportunity here in the North Country, or if they will have to move away from their home and their family to find that elsewhere. The 9/11 attacks inspired me to serve our country. But after January 6th, I knew that we needed people to stand up for our country, for our communities, and for the next generation. That's why I'm running for Congress. My name, Castelli, means castle, and so it may not come as a surprise that protecting others is part of my DNA. I was born, raised, and went to school in upstate New York, and I joined the CIA after 9/11. I spent nearly 15 years there with a team that had a pretty simple mission: stop terrorists who were planning to kill Americans. I helped hunt down some of the world's most dangerous terrorists, working in the same department that found Osama bin Laden. I served in Afghanistan and Iraq. I even served under President Obama and President Trump in the White House. Because as a public servant, I learned that protecting our communities, protecting my family and yours, means putting country before party, and my belief in that has never wavered. Like a lot of you, I come from a politically mixed family. We have Republicans, we've got Democrats, we've got independents, but we're still a family, and we want what's best for one another. Politics was never that important in my family. My mother was a teacher and a Republican. Her father, my grandfather, was a doctor, an Army veteran, also a Republican, and a man I loved and admired very much. My dad, who's unfortunately not here with us today, he's a Democrat. And in many respects, his story is the American story. His parents came on a boat from Italy. Dad was the youngest of a large family. Their life was a lot of hard work for not a lot of money. But Dad made it, got a job that he could raise a family on. It wasn't simple or easy for my parents, but the way that they built their life together is the way that we're told it should be done. Work hard, play by the rules, stick together. And while I am proud of my work protecting this country, the most important things that I've done were not in the halls of CIA headquarters or the White House or some remote outpost in Afghanistan. The most important moments in my life, they've all been about being there for the people I care about. Being there when friends and family have been sick, struggling in their jobs, in their marriages. That's what matters. That's the kind of community I was raised in. That's the kind of family I was raised in. Politics wasn't that important. Work was important. Faith was important. Family was central. Now lately, politics seems to have taken over everything, and it's prevented us from making real progress on serious challenges in our country. If ever there was a moment to put aside politics and personal interests to protect others, surely it was the pandemic. 3,000 people died on 9/11, and at the height of the pandemic, there was a 9/11 happening every day. We did bear witness to so many heroes stepping up to protect others, doctors, nurses, first responders, frontline workers. I wanted to do my part, and so I left my job at the CIA to join a veteran-founded healthcare organization here in New York to help break down barriers that stop people from getting care. Because if I've learned anything growing up in upstate New York, it's that there is nothing more important than protecting the people you care about. But some of the people we elected to represent us have put their own interests ahead of protecting our communities. From her response to the pandemic, to the assault against our country on January 6th, and to just now, voting against bipartisan infrastructure that we so desperately need, I, along with you, have watched in shock and grief as Elise Stefanik, who took an oath to protect and defend us, the same oath that I took when I joined the CIA, how she has turned away from this community and this country when we need her most. You know, we've learned something about Elise Stefanik in the years since she's been elected, something that goes beyond partisan politics. We might agree with Elise Stefanik some of the time. We might disagree with her some of the time. But what we've learned is we cannot trust Elise Stefanik to protect us. We cannot trust her to put the interests of this community or her country ahead of her own political interests and personal ambition. And if you disagree with her or her agenda, it's not because you have a difference of opinion. It's because you're a bad person, a dangerous person, not really an American at all. Partisanship aside, I do not recognize my grandfather, my mother's Republican Party in Elise Stefanik. I don't see the values of our community and our country represented in Elise Stefanik. And we are tired and sick of her putting her own interests ahead of this community and preventing real results for the North Country. But it doesn't have to be this way. Real change starts with a commitment to something greater than oneself. A commitment to the people you represent and to protect them no matter which way the political winds are blowing. I've worked in government, believe me, I understand it cannot be the solution to everything. People don't expect government to solve all their problems, but they do expect our government to get things done, to be there for people when they need it most, to deliver results, to protect them. Government is the tool of the people. It's not always a perfect tool, but it's a powerful one. It's the tool we picked up to lift our country out of the Great Depression and build a better, more prosperous nation. It's the one we use to meet fascism on the battlefield and defeat it. It's the tool we use to protect the health of our seniors. It's the one we use to extend rights and dignity to our fellow Americans regardless of race and sex. It's the one we use to take us to the moon and reach ever further into the stars. When we pick up that tool, we can do great things. Right here in northern New York, we can fix our roads, build bridges, bring high-speed broadband, and lay the foundation for the future. We can build communities that are attractive for people and businesses to move to. We can make the investments that are necessary for the North Country to be competitive in the 21st century with full-time jobs and higher pay. We can care for each other with a healthcare system that is easier to navigate and afford, that actually focuses on health and well-being where people live, especially for our seniors. We can protect our families and our communities from the growing number of threats to our way of life, especially climate change. And with a focus on the middle class and working families, we can make sure that every child in northern New York has a decent shot at life and opportunity right here in the community where they were raised. Woo! If we put country before party, we can put a stop to extremists like Elise Stefanik and actually deliver results. Yeah. Today marks the official kickoff of our campaign to do just that. To restore public service back to New York 21. Today also marks the kickoff of our very first listening tour. So this week we're going to be traveling to all 12 counties because I want to hear from you and people all across this district about the issues that matter most to you. I am fully committed to this fight, but I cannot do it without you. It's going to take all of us, Democrats, independents, and Republicans, if we're going to reach out into every community and flip this seat. Duty rarely calls upon us at times of our choosing, but how we show up over this next year will determine the future of the North Country. Our kids are still watching. This is our moment to show them that we value their future over partisan politics, a moment where we choose something better. America is at its best when our elected representatives have our backs and protect us. And when that happens, I believe we can do great things. And if you trust me as your representative, I will be there for you. I will have your back. And with your support, I know that we will win next November. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for being here. Let's get to work.